Really had a, that was a mess.
Yeah.
That was a mess.
Sounds like it.
So, and we drove 15 hours straight on Monday.
Oh my god, yeah, it's a painful drive for me too.
Okay, we're good.
All right, so I'll just start again by having you say and spell your first and last name.
Andrew Butler, ANDREWBUTLER.
And your title.
Property manager.
So you had 25 tenants who needed rent relief money, right?
Yes.
And all of them, tell me how the process was, because it sounds like most of them did what they should have done, but then there were two outliers in that.
There was, most of them did what they were supposed to do, filed the paperwork appropriately, and got the paperwork into rent relief in a timely fashion. Two of them refused to do the paperwork, held out for months and months and months, and then finally waited until the court date, filled out the paperwork, and then they were able to delay an eviction process from there.
So they waited until they were about to get evicted, and then they said, okay, I will fill out the paperwork.
Yes.
So how long did it take from that to get the actual money approved?
The money got approved within about 2 weeks, and then to get the actual check from rent relief for the one tenant that we had gotten the rent relief from those two was about another 2 weeks.
Okay, so the other tenant didn't qualify, or?
The other tenant qualified and has refused to pay us the money. The check got issued to them directly.
So explain what happened with those two cases. How did you find out that the check had been issued, and how did you find out the check did not go to you?
We found out that the check did not go through us through the court system, actually. The tenant had a lawyer through the Rhode Island Center for Justice, and the lawyer had indicated that the check had been issued to the tenant after a conversation that I had with rent relief, indicating that we had filled out all our paperwork, they had all our documentation, and then they had issued the check 4 days later directly to the tenant.
And this didn't just happen once?
Not once, no.
Twice?
Yes.
How frustrating is that as a landlord?
Very frustrating. We've been waiting for the money for a long time. The one particular tenant that is refusing to pay us the money from rent relief has not paid rent since October of 2020. He received safe harbor for October, November, December, and then received $12,000 for the entire year of 2021. We have not received a single penny of that check. We have not received any rent for that apartment.
So how much money are we talking about?
$12,000.
It's $12,000, that's a lot of money. And when you contacted RI Housing, Rent Relief, and said, you know, we did everything right, you sent the money here, what was their response?
The response was it was a mistake. It was done by accident. I got all the way up the ladder to Deborah Devine, who, from my understanding, is the supervisor of the entire program. And she has been unresponsive to my last 3 attempts to contact her for about a month now regarding this issue. I had initially contacted asking for them to stop payment and issue us the check, as they had all our information uploaded. So it shouldn't have been issued to the tenant. She said that she couldn't do that. The tenant was supposed to turn over the payment within 7 calendar days. They agreed to those terms with rent relief, and they have yet to turn it over. So I had reached back out after 17 days of waiting for the money, and Deborah Devine still has yet to respond to us.
What happens from here? What does your attorney say?
The attorney is fighting it in court. The judge has yet to compel the tenant to give us the check. There is a standing court order for the tenant to turn over the money, but nothing has been done yet.
And going forward, RI Housing, if they wanted to, they could take legal action, but you guys can't do a whole lot here, right? Because of the way that the law and everything is written.
The way that the money is structured, the way that the law is structured, the tenant received the payment, so rent relief would have to go after the payment with the tenant. There's nothing we can do. The tenant had actually appealed the initial eviction hearing, and it went to Superior Court. During the appeal, the tenant could have paid the money owed from that check and avoided the eviction. He chose to take the eviction instead of paying the money, and he's going to take the money and run.
Did you ever think that something like this could happen?
No.
And if he does take the money and run, are you out of options?
At this point, yes. We could send it to a bill collecting attorney, and the bill collectors gonna chase him for months and months and not receive anything. That's just the way it works in that situation.
Do you know if this has happened to any other landlords that you've heard of?
I'm sure it has. I'm sure we're not the only ones that have dealt with this situation. It's a shame. It's a flaw in the system. I think it's a flaw that everyone knew was there. I think when they issued the payment, they knew that it was going to be an issue. One rent relief employee had stated to me that with this particular case, they knew it was going to be an issue.
Why is that? How did they?
They could just tell based on how the tenant was acting. They knew it was going to be an issue with us receiving the payment.
What would you like to see done?
I would like to see rent relief go get the money back from the tenant and give us the money.
All right, works for me. Some 2 shots, and then I just have a 2 reverse questions.
Okay.
So I'll just do some 2 shots of us talking.
Yep.
If you don't mind, since you're all about TikTok.
Yep.
I'm actually doing one
Do you want me
today on the day in the life of a reporter. If you want to just shoot
Yeah.
a 2-shot video of us talking.
All right.
It's like,
Absolutely.
ironically.
So you're gonna edit it, right?
Yeah,
So there's actually
yeah, you can just do it
2
for like 20
TikTok
seconds.
videos going on simultaneously
that's
right
right.
now.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to do a duet.
Every now and then I like to do the day in the life of a reporter.
Oh,
That
there
is
you go.
interesting when I'm not getting up at 2 a.m. But
Yeah, I believe that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from when I did the story, how long did it take you guys to get that money?
The initial story,
Yeah.
it took us about 3 weeks from then.
Okay. Yeah, they do not like me there very much.
I believe that. They're very, very hard to, you understand that there's some sympathy going to the tenants, but
Mhm.
this is such a clear-cut situation where it's like, the tenant has the money to be able to pay the eviction and get it away off
Right.
the record, and they'd rather have the money.
Right?
It's
They'd rather
free
get
money to them.
evicted. And,
Yeah.
But then it's like you're going to have to pay for someplace else.
That's exactly
So,
right. But they get a big paycheck in the mail, you know? So.
Yeah, that is so stressful.
We had a tenant that was denied rent relief, and so he moved out. He owed 3 months of rent, was
Uh-huh.
denied because he had a job, was able to pay his bills, and rent relief figured that out. And when we went in there, there was a empty box from a 70-inch TV and a PS5 box on the ground, which is about $1,000 for
Yeah.
the PS5.
That is incredibly
So
frustrating.
that's where the rent money went, and they applied for rent relief, got denied, and then moved out, and we're left with a $3,000. Yeah.
Yikes. All right, so this is a couple of those reverse questions I believe I've done with you before.
Yep.
Okay. When you spoke to Rhode Island Housing about this, what was their response? If he does run with the money, are you out of options? I think that's it. Yeah, I think that works.
All right, good. Sounds good.
Thank
I
you.
did that,
Get
right?
2 shots from 2 different angles.
Awesome.
That's how you do the 2 shots, right? Did I remember how to do that? Is that you
Yeah,
just,
it is.
right,
It
right.
is.
That way you can edit the.
Yeah.
It's good.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem.
So this story will likely air next